Well, check it out. Our new intro. I had to change it. The beard was just way too small, and had hair cut, and yeah, I had to alter that quite a bit. Um, Hello, Trisha. Hello, Candace. Chuck. Um, so yeah, I had to change up the intro. Kept the same music. I just really dig it. So, oh, Alyssa. Um, so tonight, I'm going to be focusing on candle magics. Hello, Stephanie, and this goes back quite a ways, and it's going to be, God, I hate how-to videos. I really do. And hello, Jared. Didn't I just see you today? Oh, okay. Anyway, go ahead and say it. How rude. Hello, Raven. So, but this is going to be kind of a scratching the surface of hello Tori of the how to's because we're actually going to be doing a few. I actually have a little table set up with some candles, and we're gonna play. Um, hey Jenny. Uh, but let's kind of hop into it. It's so good to see everybody here. So pretty much so. And mind you, this is a new platform, and I'm trying some new fancy ways. I'm never extra on anything. And so if you tell me I've got a specific way of doing something, I'm going to find a better way to do it. So anyway, um, candles in general, they've been around for a long time, all the way back to the oil lamps. They had all specific purposes and whatnot. And, when I'm using the term candles, I mean wax in general. Um, because, like, even in the Enochian system, the sigillum diameth was a wax disc. It wasn't originally a metal disc or anything like that. It was a wax disc. It was made of beeswax, and all the sigils, all the names was engraved into the wax, and it was put underneath the table. Yada 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 yada. So the concept of wax being used has been around for a very long time, and how it's being used is different. Everybody has a different method, so we're going to kind of focus on the basics. So let me pull this up real quick. So pretty much so, from childhood, we have been programmed that using candle magic is normal, believe it or not. You're thinking of a desired form and your wish, and you're focused on the candle while it's burning, and you blow it out. And of course, the law of Hathor comes into play, and you have to keep your wish silent. And of course, now the smoke carries it up into the ethers, and that's how your wish comes true. It's still waiting for a few of mine. Anyway, so it doesn't matter how many candles or whatnot, but no matter the environment, candle magics are performed. People all over the world, no matter what the culture, past spiritual beliefs, um, candle magic is used for granting wishes, contacting the dead, honoring the dead, blessings, healing, purification, consecration, divination, meditation. It almost sounds like a really cheesy song. And the list really keeps going on. So the practice of using candles in magics, and we're using this term loosely, is used worldwide. It's not by one particular group, or one you know culture or whatnot. It's used all over the place. So um, just like moldavite is a piece of glass, tektite to be exact. Ouija board is a piece of cardboard. A hammer is just a hammer. Um, a candle is just a candle. So, with that being said, uh, candles allow us a lot of flexibility. The colors, the shapes, being able to carve into them, it's a wide variety. Now, once again, let's step back a little bit with the whole safety disclaimer. You never want to leave a candle burning unwatched. Let's see, make sure you trim your wick a quarter inch high. Common sense things. But um, but you need to be able to pick the right tool for the right job and for what you're trying to do, what you're trying to accomplish. And um, uh, people that say that candles are can this type of candle can only be used for this type of work. This color can only be used for that. Things like that. Uh, you need to make the process your own. And here's an analogy that I like to uh, I'll step into that analogy shortly, but um, the one of my quotes is, "This is the only candle that you can do is to do the work." Okay, would you let someone put a 5 pillar candle, going back to the birthday cake, 5 pound pillar candle on your birthday cake so you can do your yearly ritualistic conjuring, because that's what you're doing, um, because I said it's the right candle for the cake. Well, no, they're going to destroy the cake, and that's the most important part. Screw the wish. So I know I'm a sweet freak. But speaking of candles, real quick, uh, another person who makes candles, which is Lallick and Owens, and he's out of Ontario, and he makes beeswax candles rolled, and we're going to get into the subject, which is intent based. So, real quick, let's give Lallick his spot so he can speak about some of his products.
Hi everyone, my name is Sean and I'm the owner of Lalo Gonzalwin. I make natural handcrafted intention-based products like beeswax spell candles, scented spell candles, loose incense, stick incense, liquid incense, anointing oils, and bath salts. So you can check out all of my products on my website at www.lailokensAWEN.com.
So that's Sean, and some amazing products, and he does the same thing. He makes candles that are intent based, and um, we're going to get into that a little bit just very shortly. And in case you're wondering why I keep looking down, I live by notes. So, yes, cake. Lisa. Um, so let's look at some of these. So some of the soy candles that I've got, I'm just grabbed some from the store. This is a soy candle dedicated for dreams. But at the end of the day, this soy candle and this divination candle is a candle. Oh, that was loud. It's very echoing here. But this pillar candle is paraffin wax. These are soy, cotton wick, cotton. Well, yeah, these are cotton wick. I make some wood wicks when downstairs. And then the most common one used for candle magics is the little simple tapers. So, it ultimately, these are candles, nothing more, nothing less. Um, so we got colors of all these different candles, and they go from a wide variety of different colors. So, if we have black ones, for example, a black candle could represent earth, could represent banishment, could represent hexing. Then you got let's pick on green ones, for example. A green candle for prosperity or wealth or, along those lines. But what if I wanted to use a black candle for prosperity? Well, if it feels right to me, then it's the right thing to do. You have to go with what feels right for you. Just because you may look in a book and you go into like the store downstairs, we have the recommended colors. There's always those baseline colors, for those purposes. But as it's happened before, people have asked me, do I have to use this color for this type of candle? No, you really don't. And and we're going to get into that very shortly. So, and here's my analogy that I've used a million times. Um, Jared's a baker, so he really likes this one. Um, so, when you get a recipe for making a cake, it's a guideline for the best results. It's based on what another person has done or a couple of people have done. It has made a pretty decent cake. But I dare you to tell me you have not substituted something because you didn't have something or you felt like this was going to create a better flavor or you wanted to create something different. Okay, so you do that and it comes out amazing, an over the top cake, and everybody's loving it. Everybody's just saying, this is the best cake I've ever tasted. Well, what are you going to say? You're not going to say, well, I read this recipe and I altered it and I changed it this way. You're going to say, this is my recipe. It's the same way. However, if they're puking in the corner, you're going to say, oh, it was this recipe's fault, not mine. And you're going to run out the door. But, when you're doing magics, you're going to add something of yourself. Don't feel like you have to do everything black and white, by the letter of what someone is telling you, because that's not you. You have to apply yourself. So I'm encouraging you to make your own candles, oddly enough, but if you can't, places like Hecate's and myself, Lelikins, well, we make our own candles. We're making it with the intents. Um, so continuing with the colors, we're going to stick with the basics throughout this whole thing. Um, I'll try not to go on one of my rants. So, as I said before, it depends on different paths have different meanings for the colors and different purposes and things along those lines. But in general, these are generalized statements, and I'm only going to hit on a few of the popular colors. I encourage you to do your own homework, but once again, if the color feels right for you on a candle, use it. Personally, I like just black candles and white candles. No particular reason, just I feel more comfortable with it. So, black candles, usually used for hexing or banishing. It's also a neutral candle. That's probably why I like it. White is also another neutral, but it's also used for harmony, joy, divination, things along those lines. Can also, I think, healing is in there somewhere. But anyway, green, money, luck, good job. Um, Brown, health, prosperity, and home. Red can be used for health as well. And also passion. I should hit the echo button over there. Passion. Anyway, or love. Purple. Power, ambition, intuitiveness, psychic abilities. Once again, divination. And pink, attraction and romance. Um, there was not too long ago, somebody wanted one of the seven knob candles. And by their purpose, they should have got a yellow one. So they were concerned because they wanted a pink one. And I told them, that's fine. It's that color is a trigger for your intent. So, and then you also got the wonderful world of, um, well, lunar cycles and astrology and all these different things. When making your candle or making talismans or anything like that, a lot of people believe that you have to stick to the lunar cycles. Waxing is for um, for well, the general rule of thumb, because you got waxing, waning, dark, or the full moon. Those are the general ranges there. So the general rule to remember: waxing is to bring things to, waning is to push things away, um, dark is to cut cords, full moon is to bring things to light. So um, just as a generalized statement, and actually can go more in depth. But once again, I'm trying to stick to the basics without going on one of my usual rants. So, henceforth the notes. So, but you also got other aspects depending on your path. Uh, I don't have the graphic here, but sometimes, depending on your path, a time of day is not really based off of the lunar cycle, but it's also based off the astrological dates and times of that specific deity or that specific purpose the deity is related to that, and on and on and on. So if you're not careful and you get really deep into that, you can be setting your alarm at 2 o'clock in the morning on a Tuesday just so that you can utilize the Archangel Raphael or Jupiter or Samael or any of these aspects. Are they necessary? That's for you to decide, not for anyone else. Um, so, the different times of day, depending on the path, uh, the different days. I've told the story before how Sean Lalikans, he got us some incense. It's the same concept, but we needed it dedicated for a specific way when we took over the building. So he does everything in tent base. So with that being said, he did it on a Tuesday in order to get it to us in time because that's how he makes things. He's that detailed. Um, and also, you got the other concept utilizing astrological influences, whether or not this sign is in this house, and you know, I know it seems like it's elaborate and it goes beyond the levels of basic, but it's important for you to know because if you're doing your homework on certain things, you could end up getting wrapped up into that without sticking to the basics when you're first starting. So, and then there's the other aspect, essential oils. Now, a lot of people anoint their candle, but you got to raise caution with that. If you put too much oil into it on the outside, now you have a big giant torch, not a candle, because the oils are flammable. Also, you have to keep in mind, let's say like most oils can irritate your skin. So I have a blend over here for when we go through the exercise. It's already pre-mixed, and I'll explain to you how to pre-mix your own by utilizing essential oils. There are some blends out there, like Abramelum. Ceremonials use that for blessing things, like candles and tools. And it is a really, really, really high cinnamon content, which will burn on sensitive areas. So if you're sensitive already to certain soaps and stuff like that, do not do that. Um, so in anointing a candle, um, and once again, it depends on the path. You can take a little dab, put it on a rag, and rub it in. But the most common practice is to take a little bit, put it in your hands, rub your hands together, fold your hands, and breathe your intent by speaking it. So, for example, let's use the most common one. I want to win the lottery. So then you take that and you rub it in on the outside of the candle. And it doesn't have to be like dripping off of it. Once again, that makes it a fire hazard. Um, so with those aspects, it's that's for the pillar type concepts on the candles. Now these, like these, already have the oils in them, um, where we've already done the homework for the basics, for the oils that are usually used with these concepts. Does that make this a powerful candle? No, it's still a candle. Sorry. But does it make it a tool that you can utilize? Yes. It doesn't matter how much we focus when we're making these items. At the end of the day, it's you. We focus on the color and the herbs and the oils and everything for that specific purpose. But dreams is not being specific. When we're all making these items, we are making them to as a generalized purpose. So, in other words, I'm just going to give you an analogy here. We're just giving you a screwdriver. Now, however you use it, whether you're going to use it to punch a hole in the wall or you're going to actually extract screws or put screws into wood, that's you. We're just giving you the tool. So, with that, we're going to also step back real quick. The intents on these two different items, they're usually handled two different ways. A lot of times, a common practice is to write down, not only be focusing, but to write down your intent on a piece of parchment or whatever your personal path is. With these candles, you can, or these, the small ones, you can use like a little skewer or a needle, a knife, your atame, fingernail, I don't know, and write it in to the wax. You can also write it down on a piece of parchment, which is the most common practice. A little small piece of paper, and then you put it underneath the candle. The same concept. Put it underneath. Once again, don't leave the candle burning without you in the room because you now have a piece of paper underneath it, and some of us like to call that a fuse. Now, utilizing these type of candles, the paraffin ones, and the beeswax ones as well, you can write your sigils in them. I'm going to attempt to do something here. Oh my gosh, I don't know if I can do this. But I'm going to. I don't think I can. There is a. One second. I should have already had this up. So there's a bunch of different ways to make sigils. And I don't want to go extremely far off the beaten path on sigils. I don't want to get locked into that world, but not at the moment anyway. There is a website that has taken a lot of the guesswork out of making sigils. And what it does is Jeff had sent me the link a while back, and I've been playing with it. And I really, really actually like it because there's a bunch of different ways. And it's a sigil generator. And what it does is it takes not only how fast you're typing the words for your intent, but the time of day, everything. So the possibilities of you ending up with the same sigil is very difficult. So it will automatically generate that for you on the screen. All you got to do is retrace it onto your candle. So now you have a candle with your sigil, with your intent, or you can design your own. But it's a signature of your intent at the end of the day. So with these or these, you can put your intent either underneath it. It's not required. You can focus and do it yourself. But what we're going to do is take this candle and let's pick out an intent. So let's go with, Hmm. Uh, tell you what, we're gonna go with. Um, I'm not gonna pick the lottery one because I know better. That is correct, Tricia. When you needed that candle, we did create a sigil for it. We did carve it into the candle. And once again, like we told you, it's up to you, but we put the basics onto the candle for you. And, but yes, if you take, and it's gonna, you won't be able to see it. So I could literally do this and you won't be able to see it. But let's say this was for somebody. So I'm going to write my name on it because, and I'm going to write Matt and as much information about myself. Beard. No, sorry. I don't want to state the obvious. So I put my name on here. So this candle is now directed toward me. Now I might run a right in purpose of less pain and you can come back and let's say like for example if you've got some other wax, like soft melted wax of a different color. You can use food coloring, whatnot, and rub it in just so that you can see it a little bit better. But at the end of the day, it's what it's for. Um, so we've got this. I'm going to take one of these blends. Now, I said that I would mention this. You can use it either use grapeseed oil, hemp oil, uh, jojoba. That's what I generally like using. Um, any of those type of oils, and only put a small drop of your essential oil in with it. Those are called carrier oils, and you put it with your essential oil. That way, it's less of a skin irritant, and it only takes maybe like 2 little drops into the hand. I better put that lid on. And I'm only showing you how I do this. You have to invent your style. So I rub my hands together and I like to do the breathe intent. So in this case, I've got less pain on here. That's my directed. So I'm going to focus on healing. So I have the healing intent. God, it smells good. It's it's actually one of my beard oils, but I'm trying to use it as an example. So I'll rub it in. Now, you'll hear a whole bunch of different stories. I need to take it and rub it 3 times. I need to rub it 7 times. I need to, okay, it's starting to sound like a dirty movie at this point. Anyway, um, it rubs the oil on the candle. It does this whenever it's told. Yes, I'm rubbing my candle. So I've got the candle. It's anointed. You don't need it dripping off to the side. Once again, that makes it very dangerous. Um, so I've got that information. I've loaded the information. Such a tech geek. I have that. Now what I'm gonna do is, of course, I'll trim the wick to 1/4 inch. I'll light it. Now, once I've lit it, do I just light it and walk away? No, that's a fire hazard. But B, you want to focus on the flame. At the end of the day, once again, this is a candle. you you are the fuel. Um oh yeah, Jenny, I'm gonna throw innuendos in there all over the place. So focus on the flame. The flame not only is an external source, but you've got to apply your internal source. This is not going to do anything for you. This is giving you a focused tool that you've just applied your energy, your intent into it. When you're focusing on it, you have now activating it. I know it's a cheesy word, but it's the only one I can come up with right now. So, how long do you let it burn for? That's up to you. Don't let someone tell you you have to let it burn until it goes all the way down. You got to burn it for so much time during this day or whatnot. You can only, because we all have lives. And, if you have kids, you may have to put it out. But every time you relight it, you should be refocusing on the intent, why you did it. Never sway from that. Don't say, I just want to add this one little clause in there. No, don't act like a politician. Don't try to throw a bunch of extra stuff in there that you want. Focus on that one intent. Now, with candles and you're working with them, you can't necessarily anoint one of these. I mean, I guess you could, but it's going to slip out of your fingers every time you pick it up. So understand it has oils in it for that purpose. You can actually take a Sharpie and write your entire phrase, your intent that you want on the outside. Put it on a parchment, set it on top of it. But where did the spells come into play? There's a bunch of them out there. There's a lot. I'm just going to give you one recommendation because there's all kinds of different books with different spells on how to obtain different things and whatnot. Remember I said don't stick with the black and white? I'm not saying don't read them. I'm saying try to come up with your own. I would highly recommend that. If you like writing poems, you like the rhymey type thing, write out a simple poem with the description of your intent. And that will be your spell because it's more from you. Now, however, if you read one that really chimes with you, there's nothing wrong with that. But having a simple spell, a phrase, really should come from you. And I just really highly recommend it. Oh, and before I forget, I just thought about this right before I came on, and I didn't put it in my notes, but I'm glad I just remembered. What if you don't have any oils? You don't have access to any, but you've got some incense that you really like. There's nothing wrong with lighting the incense and rolling it over to smoke while you are focusing on your intent. Because number one, you feel connected to that incense, that smoke. There's nothing wrong with that. So be creative when it comes down to this. Remember, there's different types of candles. There's shaped candles. I know some people have come in the store and seen the figure candles. We have them at the broom closet, and this big boy. I ain't got nobody. Yeah, I love Young Frankenstein. Anyway, so it wouldn't be uncommon to take something like this and to carve someone's name and the various symbols. Then you would anoint it, burn it, and you would let it burn down as much as you could, but you would keep coming back. Every time you relight a candle, you cannot, and I cannot reiterate it enough, and roll it and smoke it, Jenny. um, you meant the candle. Oh, yeah, that's right. Yeah, okay. Um, um, roll and smoke. I really stepped into that one. So when you're having to relight it, do not sway from your original intent. That's where a lot of people get lost into well, it's not working or whatnot, because I guarantee you when they came back a few days later to light it, they didn't even look at the parchment they wrote it on. They changed the entire wording on what their original intent was. That's one of the largest reasons you write it down, is so you can always open it back up and recite exactly your intent. Don't put footnotes in there. So I'm going to bring up these. These are dedication candles. Now, dedication candles, I've gone a little bit more extensively with um, the intent. Now, these are made specific for a purpose. Now, what that means is say, like, if you're burning the Lilith candle and you're going to be focusing on Lilith, and your purpose, your intent is, say, for example, protecting the kids during this COVID time, giving them a safe place. So you're utilizing an intent, a candle that's already built in with an intent, a dedication. And we're going to say it's almost like having a carrier wave. I'm transmitting to you, but my words are transmitting on that carrier wave. It's the same concept. So these are specific to an action. Your intent is being applied to it is what makes the action more valuable. So, in case you're wondering, this is Papa Legba. I was just looking to make sure the tobacco stayed on top. So, when you're doing candle magics, you know, I'm going to remove the glam out of it. Wait, so is a candle or incense a catalyst for fire magic, or am I thinking with hot air? Let me throw that out there. It's actually a good question. The fire magic gives you, if I'm understanding, this is my interpretation when you say fire magic, aside from me throwing fireballs in the main hall and burning my hand like I did last time. Fire magic is a focal point. You have an internal flame inside of you. An external flame gives you something to focus on. These are two of the same aspect. The black flame inside is what you already know. You just haven't brought it out yet, or you've learned to tap into it. The external flame is your focus, a way to illuminate in what is known. So when you are utilizing a candle, it's really no different than crystal gazing. I guess I'm going to use that comparison. It gives you a focus then with the flame. And you can, yes, you can do the um, do the focus with the making the flame bigger or lower, but then you can, with me, the analytics are going to, jump in, and is that because of the airflow in the room, or is it this and that? I used to do that when I was younger a lot, but then I started becoming way too analytical of everything, and I had to stop. So, but so to answer your question, Stephanie, fire magic, if I understanding your question correctly, in that regards, is a focal point. Um, I'm going to relate it to that. So personally, yes, you can utilize candles by using the flame as a focal point. Now, is not to coin the practical magic, blowing on the candle and watch it light up. That would be awesome. I've been trying for years. Actually, I stared at Jared a few times and tried it. It didn't work. But the by using it as a focal point for even in the level of divination, like this one is, and you want to focus on the flame. I'm not really big into seeing images in the flame. That's just me personally, because pareidolia can play a huge part of that. That's just my personal opinion. So, um, sorry, I'm chuckling at Jared's statement. So, With candle magics, it's really about, at the end of the day, picking the right tool. It doesn't matter how. I'm just going to wait for the backlash comment from Jared on this one. Doesn't matter how big or small the candle is, what color it is, what it's made of. It's up to you to determine that. The figure candles are more directed toward individuals. The animal shapes could be directed toward, let's say, for example, like the owl candle downstairs. If you want to utilize Hecate, that would be a good one to utilize. Or anything having to do with nature or anything along those lines. So the purpose of the candle itself is to be lit, and that's pretty much it. What you do beyond that point by anointing it, carving it, putting it with the parchment, however, whatever you wrote it on, those are different things. Now, here comes the big question. It was asked recently: what do you do with the candle when you're done? It's completely melted away. There's a variety of different ways. Some people put it in a pouch and just put it away. Some people bury it. Um, it's what you feel comfortable. But the reason I'm bringing that up is because you've focused your intent. You've sent it out. By keeping the candle around to remind you of that intent is keeping it with you, period. It's not going anywhere. Recommend getting rid of it. Send it out and put trust in your intent. That is the hardest thing. Anointing, carving, coming up with your own spell, everything else. That is the hardest thing for anybody to do, including myself, is to put faith in yourself. Trust in yourself that the intent that you sent out is going to do its work. You have to literally turn your back and walk away. That is the hardest thing for anybody to do. When I actually do accomplish that, um, can you put it out in a flowing water such as a creek? Candace, yeah, you could. And that is if you're going to do the full burn all the way down. If you're not, it's going to make it very difficult. You're going to have to wait for it to, come back up. Because it is usually recommended to burn the whole candle. That's why a lot of people go with the smaller ones. So that's a faster process. Because end of the day. So to answer your question, yes, you can. It's up to your individual path. Because if you feel more connected to flowing water, like say for example, your element in general is water, you probably would be more in tune to that. Mine's fire, so I'm screwed. I'm just got to sit over the blowtorch. So, but if that's something you feel really in tune with, yeah, that would be. I'm not going to say that's wrong because you are the only one that can decide that's the right thing to do. Putting one out and you're going to do it like that is finalizing it, that you're done. Now, this is a recommendation, and I love this idea personally. If my element was water and I did have access to a flowing stream and I had the candle and I'm done with everything that I plan on doing, I've lit it and I have said my intents, my intention, everything's sent out, and I'm ready to for closure. I would not only put it out in a stream, but I would let it flow with the water. That's just me, because now I've completely sent it out. That's just once again, that's what I would do. Putting it out with the water and taking it home, putting it up on the shelf, and say that's the spell that I've been working on. You didn't do anything. You just made a huge mess. So you have to be able to release it in order for it to work. You have to put trust in yourself and faith in yourself that you have sent this energy out and it will accomplish its ultimate goal. It may not be in the time frame that you want. Um, yeah, that's that's perfect. I think that would just be. I don't. In simpler terms, I think that would be an absolutely beautiful way of putting closure to the actual ritual. Just letting it go out. Once it goes out, let it go with the water, especially if that's your element. Um, if it's not, you still feel comfortable with that. Once again, that's you. Um, no one can ever sit there and say, you can't do that because your element's earth. Come on. Um, I'm originally from the Gulf Coast. Uh, to be able to put a candle out with my intent and um, to be able to bury it into the sand or however that may be, that would just be over the top amazing with me. But I mean, Saskatchewan, not gonna happen. So with candles, um, and you're working with them, I'm encouraging you. If you can't make them, um, they don't have to be fancy. When I say making them, even if you're rolling a piece of wax around a wick, um, or even if you want to come by here and go buy some pointer tips on how to make a quickie candle, I'll be glad to show you. But utilizing candles for the purpose, for your intent, don't just pick up something off the shelf that says dreams, divination, healing, whatever, and immediately assume it does all the work for you. It's a catalyst for you to accomplish your goal. Um, so I like the idea personally. I didn't even think about that earlier of just writing on the jar what my intent was, and that way that jar is dedicated to that. Like for example, this one's on dreams. Let's make it uh, removing because it's focused. All the oils in here are dedicated to dreams. Anything related to dreams. So let's say like I'm having a bad run of nightmares, and I write down want these removed. I don't want these nightmares anymore. Or provide some clarity of why I'm having these nightmares. That way, this jar is dedicated strictly to that purpose. I don't have to worry about the little parchment, and I've always got the information written on it. Um, so, and once again, with the spells, there's a whole bunch of them out there. A lot of people have them. I recommend if you do like writing poems or you feel like you want to be creative, they don't have to rhyme. You know, don't get me wrong. I say poems loosely because I'm a rhyming. I love things that rhyme. You, on the other hand, may not. You just may like it. I want to win the lottery. Ta-da! There's your spell. Sorry, that's it's really simple as that. It's your intent. It's what you feel. Um, now let's go with the specifics on that one. I want to win the lottery tonight on tonight's draw. There's not one tonight. I'm just saying that's more specific. Because if you say, I want to win the lottery, you might win a free ticket. You might not win one for years down the road. You have to be specific with these things. Asking for something in general, you wouldn't do that when you're going to the store. You wouldn't do that when you're making an important phone call. Well, when you call the doctor's office and make an appointment, or they ask why, they want you to be specific. The same way with magics, you have to be specific. And what if I change this to? Well, none of these candles are dedicated to that, so we're just going to pick on this one. What if I change this one to I want money? and I give a specific amount. Let's say $100,000. That would be nice. Okay, so what if it's a general store? True. But don't. So I want money. I give a specific amount, $100,000. 100, and I'll leave it at that. And what if I accomplish my goal, but at the demise of a family relative that left me the money? I was not specific. Now, if you're not worried about things like that, but keep that in mind. You are sending your intent, your focus, your energy by utilizing a candle as a catalyst. Your energy is, in a lack of better terms, is very powerful. Have you ever gone in a room and felt the energy in the room? People looking, that one person in the office that was angry, you knew it without him saying a word. That is projected energy. Now, this is a candle. That is energy. You can use this as a focal point and accomplish your goals to some degree. And I say that to some degree is because it's, at the end of the day, it depended on you, not the candle. Now, is that a guarantee that every single time you light that candle, these things are going to happen? No. No. It may not be the right time. It may not, it could have been you weren't asking the right things. I've had great success with candle magics over the years. And usually when I didn't, it's because of something that I did. I was able to identify it right away. I didn't word it correctly. I didn't, that's kind of loud. Yeah. I didn't word it correctly. It was the wrong time for me to be asking these type of things. To say it worked every single time, no. I have had success, and I've had more success doing this. But as far as it works every single time, no. Anybody can tell you that every candle magic ritual, every form of candle magic is a guarantee. Be cautious. That's all I'm going to say. So I would invite you to explore, um, be specific, uh, be creative, because the more creativity you apply to that, the more powerful the actual candle magic becomes. So that's pretty much so all I've got. I got a couple of announcements I want to make. After this, we're going to be turning our focus by request more on the paranormal and supernatural, and going to keep things very basic. Well, no, that's a lie. We're going to start off basic and work our way up to more advanced. But with that being said, if everything works out correctly, and I'm just waving the stick around like I'm Harry Potter, we'll actually be able to take call-ins. So if you have questions about the paranormal or you want to share a paranormal experience, if everything works out, we'll be taking call-ins and we'll be able to discuss them and go more in depth on these type of things. So, and as always, let me see if I can even do this here. Yes, the shameful request for donations. Everything that we do is donation based, or except for the what we do here in the store. To pay for these feeds, pay for the different items. So, wow, I did post. Holy crap. So with that being said, I posted on the YouTube. We're broadcasting on YouTube and Facebook. And Facebook didn't like it. So if you can, hop over to YouTube. We have the link on there. And that is pretty much so it. Unless anybody's got any specific questions, That'd be great. Oh, wait. There's always a delay here. I can just sip my coffee. Mm, no. Okay. So we are going to wrap it up. I thank you all for your time on this Sunday evening. And tonight I'll be on SLE Radio, their morning show in the UK. It's 11 o'clock our local time. And it's going to be a long night. So it's time for me to go grab some supper and we'll move on from there. But once again, uh, thank you very much. I greatly appreciate it and have a good night.